stare at that little blue light in your head and wondering if you're just talking to somebody or if you're actually schizophrenic? Or both. Keys. Now, this isn't really a new thing for a lot of us, but keys are so often ignored. Proximity cards, you know, those little clamshell RFID cards. How many of you have seen people carrying them on lanyards all day? You know, how many of you seen like the warehouse store where the guy's got a big armful of boxes and he's got the thing in his back pocket and he's doing that big ass scraping thing against the wall trying to get it to work? You know, we've all seen them. You know, these people wear them all the time. You know, you see the common ones on the top. Sometimes they'll be like their ID card, you know, their picture and ID and everything. Most of these things have been around 10, 15 years. They're not encrypted. You just hit them with a signal, they barf back a number. If that number matches what's in the database and they have access to that door, click, it opens, away you go. CQ.CUX, Jonathan Westhughes, freakishly bright guy, sat down one day and decided, this is an RF device. I'm going to build my own. And this is actually just his first version. He's actually refined this thing a lot. A couple coin cells. Basically, you hit one button, hold it up next to the card, sucks the code off. Hit the other button, plays it back. Who are the two people in an office that would typically have access to everything? Janitor and CEO. CEO, a little harder to get a hold of. Janitor, you know, come in at 6 o'clock when he's coming in and say, hey buddy, you know, really good job on cleaning my office, beep. I mean, nobody's going to question the janitor going around at 2 o'clock in the morning into all these, you know, R&D departments and everything like that. There's actually some really interesting stuff that, I don't want to give away anything that Zach's working on, but Zach from DEF CON, when we were in Norway, was playing with some really fun stuff with RFID and door tags that I think was he going to actually do that in DEF CON? I think at DEF CON, but makes this thing look like tinfoil. Like, amazing stuff. Traditional keys are also vulnerable. Basically, I know Mouse alluded to this in her talk, but a couple of years ago, Diebold, now Premier Election Systems, these are the guys that own, between them and ESNS, have 80% of the market for the U.S. elections. If you went to their web store, you could order extra keys for the units, and these keys were, for everybody, for every machine that they made. They actually posted, the documentation photo. This is what a key is. That is the actual bidding of the keys that open all the Diebold voting machines. And this key was so common, it was like the sort of thing you'd find on a minibar, like the absolute cheapest key. And jukeboxes. It was, they must have got them on sale or something, because that's the only way you can explain it. But, there it goes. But this is actually video of them using, some guy, had blanks of the key, sent them filed ones, boink. So this is without the guy even ever having access to the lock. This was just him saying, I copied it from a picture online, sent it to guys who were doing an audit at the time on these things, and boink. So all of those people you see, they've got the big key rings and everything like that. Johnny Long's really good at that in his no-tech hacking talk. Going up and just doing random, pictures of people's ID cards and everything. They could copy your keys just by taking a photo of them. Think about that one. Passports. Okay. This is a whole other talk in and of itself about passports and the new RFID passports. But I'm just going to go quickly. These things can be easily read. Major malfunction's actually been really good in getting a lot of press on this issue. The original ICAO specifications did not actually specify anything to block these signals. The method that they said it had to be encrypted, but the problem is you can't have like some database of keys for every passport, and you've got to find a way to correlate them. So the key is actually on the machine readable zone, which if you actually like look at your passport, it's that all the just the text at the very bottom of the picture page that they swipe through the machine. And from there you get, passport number, birth date, a few other bits of information. Those are used to then assemble a key. So think about it. You've got a passport that comes in the mail. You know it's been issued between the time when they started issuing RFID cards and today. So that severely reduces your key space there if you're using the issue date, or the expiry date, excuse me. Sequence numbers, I know I believe it was Belgium, every day they went up by 50,000. So if you knew approximately the date that it was issued, very small key space. Birth dates, very small key space. So yeah, it's like a 40-bit key, but you've effectively reduced the search space to a very small amount. And, the US, to their credit, did put in a tinfoil hat in the front and back cover. But if you see, you've got text scrolling here, because that metal foil, it's self-defeating. Yes, it blocks the signals, but it naturally makes the passport want to pop open. And when it pops open, you can read the damn thing. Yes, it is encrypted, but if it's sitting in a purse, or if it's sitting in a loose pocket or something, it can still be read. The whole point was to keep this thing closed and from being read, but it's actually springing the damn thing open. This was at HackCon in Norway last year, but, And I've actually spoken to the #2 guy at the State Department that was in charge of this whole thing, and it was literally one of those WTF moments. And he's like, he was waving around his passport as a demonstration at this talk I was at. And I asked him, could you please put it down? Okay, stands it on its edge. No, just lay it flat on the table, lays it down. The thing pops open an inch, and I'm like, you do realize that can be read. The look on his face was priceless. So, to stay with passports, though, but think about it. Identity theft, threats of terrorism. He did make the point, though, that everybody's worried that you could pick an American out of a crowd and use it to target them for bombing, kidnapping, whatever. I'm sorry, but everybody on this side of the pond, when we go overseas, we stand out. We stick out like sore thumbs, so that's not as big a threat. However, if I'm abusing your passport in a foreign land, and I use it to, say, get into the United States, and then you try to get home, you're going to have some explaining to do why you've come into the country twice and not left. But think about it. It is meant as a forgery protection method. So you now have to forge the picture that's actually on the thing, all the other counterfeit protections, forge the face that you have because it has to match the picture and match the digital version. Problem is that if I get the digital version, in a lot of cases you actually have the original photo that it was done with, and it's not defaced. It doesn't have anything stamped across it. So you can take that digital one and remake the physical one. This is not smart in my mind. Again, I'm a foreign national. I'm just offering some critiques here. Please don't shoot me. Oh, a little ahead of schedule. When I finish, I want to get some volunteers. I'm going to hand out a bunch of shmoo balls. I want to go attack the other talks. I want to raid. Basically, the only talk I wanted to go to at this one was Josh's, and he's right over there right now. So. All right. Bob works trade shows. How many of you have ever had to work a trade show booth? Sucks, doesn't it? Now imagine me wandering around that sales floor. If you're demoing widgets, you need to show how wonderful this new thing is, this new product you've got. It needs to actually work. We're all familiar with the demonstration effect. When I was in Norway, they were asking me 5 minutes before my presentation, could you show more demos on things like cracking stuff? No. There's always one jackass in the back with a transmitter that's just going to jam me and mess things up. It just doesn't work. So what happens when you take something that is common and everyday, we all have one, we all deal with it, An unauthenticated, unencrypted protocol